Hey everybody! Today's the day that I give you a complete tour of my Filofax Pennybridge. I have had this and used it now for almost 2 months. It's been at least a month and a half. And I have to say, it's just a breath of fresh air for me. It's just calming. I feel much safer using this. And I think a lot of that has to do with the zip around. I did a video on my decision-making process on how I decided to use this, but I like it better, a lot better actually, than my traveler's notebook, and you guys know how much I love that. But for me, and I'm going to show you here, it's just a lot more efficient. So with my traveler's notebook, as you can see, it's all open, which, you know, even though my cash was contained here in the zipper pocket, I don't know, it was starting to bother me. I didn't like that you had to first take off the elastic, then you had to flip, go to your cards. If you needed cash, then you have to unzip here. Then you've got to flip. I had my planner system in here, so flip to that for appointments. Then I had to flip to here to put my receipts. And then if you have other cards or coupons or something, you got to flip back here. I mean, it was just a lot for me of unnecessary effort. And I just didn't like that everything was not streamlined and contained. So really, really loving this. As you can see, it's completely stuffed. I left it stuffed for you guys. I normally don't keep it like this, but I am just a person who likes to test things out in the real world. I like to test the limits, see how much it's going to hold. So as you can see, this is actually from my pen right here. The zipper is stressed, but it's definitely not showing any signs of strain or ripping or anything like that. You can kind of see it a little bit more here where it's bowing right there, and that's just because of the bulk inside. I'll show you why and how much stuff I have in here in just a second, but I'm really happy with it. So as you can see, it does zip even when it's this full. It does take a teeny bit more effort, of course, but it's definitely not an issue. When it has been this full, because I've left it this way for a long time now, I quite honestly just zip up these two sides and I leave this top open because nothing's going to fall out, and that does not bother me. And frankly, when I'm at the store, I'm trying to get in and out as quick as possible. I'm not trying to hold up the line. So it's good enough. And so I've just been zipping just those two sides, but as I just showed you, you can zip the top, no problem. I added this strap, and this is because it goes back again to the on the go. I want it to be, you know, versatile and very convenient. I added the wristlet, and it's from this little fossil pouch that I have. This is like an A6 size. Isn't it funny how we think in planner sizes? So it's like a 4x6, and I put another one on this. I actually keep this in my purse as well because I took that one. I know lots of switching going on here. I took that from my original wallet that I was using before my traveler's notebook, and I'm going to show you, in case you haven't seen before, just the difference in the sizes here. So the height is exactly the same size, well, height this way, and then for as far as the width is concerned, it's only about 1/2 inch wider. So I don't feel like I, you know, went ginormous or anything like that. And as far as the depth is concerned, in my opinion, it's exactly the same because this has nothing in it and this is completely stuffed. And then if you haven't seen it up against, this is a regular size traveler's notebook. It's the same exact thing, where this one is actually the same, I would say maybe 1/4 inch. The Pennybridge is wider, and then the height is exactly the same on this one as well. So I don't feel like I had to go bigger. I feel like this just got a lot more intentional and a lot more streamlined, so I'm really, really happy with that. And I also wanted, because of the wristlet, I wanted to be able to, I do carry this in my purse with my pouch and a few other things, but I wanted to have that option of, if I only wanted to grab this, that I would have everything I needed. So that's another reason why I added the wristlet. Another thing that I have done, and I wanted this option as well, is to just, on the jaw clip right here, just put my keys. And so that's contained right there. On the very back, the smile pocket is what I call this. I have my Hobonichi weekly booklet where I track my expenses. That lives in here, but when I need the option, I have taken that out, and then I just put my phone in here. I don't keep it in here, and I actually wouldn't recommend that, because as you can see, it's going to give you a permanent indentation. That would bother me in the long run. So I don't keep it there, but it is an option temporarily, in case you're curious. Yep, got pineapples on my phone and pineapple case. Yeah, pineapples everywhere. That's how I roll. Okay, so let me put this back in and take off my keys, and then I'll show you on the inside. Let me do this with the right hand. Okay. And once again, it's really not that hard, except I mean, as usual, going around my camera system. Okay, so that's how it looks like front and back with the zip around. And as you can see right off the bat, this sometimes gets a little bit caught right here, and that's because I have a plastic pocket. That is the only reason why, plus it's stuffed. So normally I wouldn't have that problem. And as you can see, this is how much it pops open, because I have so much stuff in here, and it's all coming from this gusseted section. So let me just, without further ado, show you that. And I'm jiggling my change because I have a ton of change in there, which is one of the big issues. So this is my financial section. This is my planning section over here on the right. And I have sticky notes here, and it's for dual purpose. I do need some place, as you can see, just to jot random. This is a list, and then this is just like completely random notes that I just needed to scribble down really fast. I also like these here because it kind of covers up my cards. They're very easy to still get in and out of, but I don't like necessarily my entire business for everyone to see that. And so I like that, and I'm going to keep it that way. So my basic cards, I've showed you those before. So this is a little bit, and I don't know why I'm having a hard time with this, but for some reason I always want to go this way to open it, and I think that's probably because I'm so ingrained with my wallet that I've had. All of them in the past have kind of been having that set up, but you go to the left on this one, and of course the cards, and then you've got the two gusseted sections, zipper in between, and then there's another pocket back here, but not gusseted. So the very front pocket I have are receipts, and I don't normally keep this many receipts in here, but there's 25, you guys, 25 receipts in here, so it holds a ton. My only issue with this setup, or this particular section right here, is with my traveler's notebook. Because it had the open section, this was one good thing about it. I could just like slip my receipts in here, and I never had to really worry about folding them or anything. You absolutely have to fold. I would say 95% of my receipts, if not more, you're going to have to fold. Because of the gusseted pocket, it's not even as long as the entire setup here. So that's just something I've had to really get used to. That's probably my least favorite thing about this whole thing, is that I have to now fold my receipts. So anyway, let me take those out because I don't need those anymore. And let me show you the back. This is just my mini first aid kit. And I literally just have, the few things that you need. So I've got lip ointment because, everyone hates chapped lips, including myself. Antiseptic. And then these are all just different. I have probably 6 or 7 different, and they're all different sizes except for these two, of bandages. I even have like a butterfly bandage in there. And then hydrocortisone, iodine. This one is another antiseptic. And last but not least are alcohol prep pads. So I have already had to use this when we were moving my daughter and son-in-law. He got a really bad cut when we were unloading, and so I had it right here. So it's fantastic. I always love to be prepared, so that I was actually so happy to use my stuff. I'm like, hey, I've got it for you. Okay, so the middle section with the zipper, this is where I would say the main bulk comes from, because as you can see, I have my pocket halfway full, and it's really, really thick. This is the problem. So when you have it standing up like this, of course, it's going to fall to the bottom this way. And then when you have it standing up this way, it's all going to fall to the bottom that way. So all the bulk is down there. So I don't keep change. When I go to the store and get changed with my cash and stuff, I come home and I immediately dump it, because that is just something I've learned. So it's impossible to keep the change evenly distributed like it is right now. So that's the big problem. Close your ears for a moment, because I'm actually going to dump this into my coin jar and get that out and show you what it's going to look like without all the coins in there. And I've got my dollar bills falling out. Okay, So without the receipts and without the coins, you see how less bulky that is? So that's, you know, the number one problem I would say, or where your problem with the bulk is going to come from. So then the next part is the second pocket, gusseted pocket, and that's where I keep my cash envelopes. Right now we're doing a low spend. In July we did no spend. August we're doing a low spend. So I only have my groceries in here. As you can see, I've only got $3, but that's okay. And then it's got the card slots back here. So the front one was my mini first aid kit. This I just have some store cards or some, you know, gift card types of things. I only have 2 right now. I really don't have that many ever. And then I also have this, which is a little wallet guide to the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. I pretty much know what they are, but I just like to have that little reminder there. And then this back section, which is the not gusseted section, I have just a few note pages, note paper. I've also got a little note from a doctor. I have 1 coupon in there, which I probably may or may not use. That's from Target. And then just a few random stamps. So really great setup, as you can see, just a lot of stuff in here, but only the necessities. And then with the rings, I talked about that I didn't think or probably was not going to de-ring this, and I've absolutely decided against that. I just think it's too much effort, and I do want to have that versatility in case I do want to use the rings at some point. As you can see, I am using this. So what happened with this is I'm like, you know, I'm just going to put this in there to see how it looks. And I ended up liking it so much that I just have kept it in here. So this kind of serves as, again, dual purposes. It is plastic, so it's a little bit thicker. As you can see, when it covers this, you can still see through it, but I feel like it gives it even more privacy. It also kind of serves as, it's not a writing board, but it kind of serves as a harder surface if I need to write on this. And of course, it's got the pocket on this. I think these are Daytimer brand. But anyway, I've just ended up really liking this, so I just kept that in there. And so who knows, you know, in the future how that's going to change, but I like it the way it is right now. And then of course on the right hand side is my planning system. I'm going to show you, as you can see, that's probably about, I'm going to say, well, if you have your weeks all the way over, as you can see, it's probably about 1 inch between the rings and the weeks. If you have it, and that's like, you know, stuffed against the pen loop over here. If you have it kind of in the middle, that's how much you get. So as you can see, there's enough space, and you can see why I don't really feel like I need to de-ring this, because it doesn't really get in the way. That's a complete right angle, 90 degrees. And as you can see, it is touching the spine, but it's not causing any problems at all. I will show you the spine of the weeks in case you're interested. So there are, you probably can't see, but there's like one, this is probably the main indentation. It's a very shallow one. It does not bother me at all, but it's not all the way down. It's not all 6 rings. And so, yeah, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I really like it. Then, of course, with my weeks, I have, these are Amy Knapp, really old planner system that I used to use, and she had some really great menu and grocery lists. And I'm just using both sides as kind of a running list of things I need to get at whatever store. It doesn't really matter. It's just a running list. As you can see, this one's blank. I just used up this one. I still got a couple things there that I need to get, but I started a new one. I ended up having to cut about 1 inch off of these is all. And then, of course, my Ollie clip and picture of my family. And then here is a list. This is the Bountiful Year. And this is just seasonal fruits and vegetables. Again, just a guide when I go to the grocery store. I just keep that in there. And as you can see, this, if anything gets caught, it's this very top, and that's why it's a little frayed right up there. So if you, one of the few people who haven't seen what the weeks looks like inside, so planning system on the right, and then notes pages on, planning on the left, notes on the right, and this is where I just have sermon notes, notes from the doctor, any, like a quote that I see, I want to write down, anything like that. And then the notes pages in the back. Looks just like that. So it's half planning, half notes. It's absolutely perfect. And then last but not least, in the back cover, I have my money purchase questions. So I talked about this before, where I just have compiled a whole bunch of questions from different financial websites and Pinterest and different sources like that. And it's really just to get me, remind myself to think through some purchases before I actually buy them. So I just keep that in there. I've thought about like gluing these or taping these in, but so far they are fine where they're at. And then the pocket back here, that's of course where I slide my weeks in, but I just have these stickers, and that's what I use for my motivational stickers or my happy stickers when I have a no spend day that I put on the weeks, or sorry, the weekly booklet right there. And then last but not least is the pen loop. And of course it's elastic. It is right exactly in the middle. I would say if they asked me for the design, I would move the pen loop up just a little bit, because as you can see, my Le Pen, it fits there and it's fine. It doesn't ever fall out, but if I push it down all the way, the pen clip, it does grip on it, but there's no way it can go all the way down. And this is a small pen, so I think that they should just move it up just a little bit in the future if they can. And I had a really hard time deciding on my pen. This is actually a different pen than what I started the year with, but I was trying a whole bunch of different pens, and I noticed that the more I tried, it got a little bit looser, which that's not necessarily a problem, but I didn't want to stretch it out too much, especially with elastic, because you know, you just don't want it too stretched out. Anyway, so I went ahead and I just stuck with the Le Pen, which, as I'm sure you all know, is a very, very thin pen. It's probably one of the thinnest pens on the market. And I just felt more comfortable with this. With a pen, you're always going to have problems with the pen clip. So this one has a very tiny pen clip that doesn't really get in the way, especially also because it's so thin. But with your other pens, you're going to have to make sure that your pen clip is facing towards the top, or it will get in the way of the zipper. You see right there? It's hard to see because it's all blue, but that's what I'm talking about. You'll always have to be conscious of that. So I don't think it's overall a design flaw. I think it would just be helpful if they just moved the pen loop up just a little bit. But that's how I decided on my pen. So I'm really, really happy with it. And essentially this has, I would say, 4 systems in it. As you can see, this is a lot easier to zip up. Let me show you how that looks. So a lot better with all that other stuff taken out of there. So 4 systems, you know, I've got my wallet, my envelopes in here, my cash system, my planning system for an entire year, which is crazy good, and essentially a notebook as well. Then if you want to count the mini first aid kit as 5, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot, and I'm really, really happy with everything I can get in here, and that's really why I went down to this. It's just because it's a lot more streamlined, a lot better in my opinion. So I also think it looks a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more professional looking. And anyway, thanks for watching, you guys, and I will talk to you again soon.